where people solve problems, reason and make decisions. An initial state is the starting point of a problem. A goal state is the desired endpoint. Operators are actions or mental steps that move the problem from one state to another. A problem space includes the initial state, goal state, intermediate states, and possible operators. Subgoals are smaller goals that make a complex problem easier to manage. Means and analysis compares the current state with the goal state and chooses actions that reduce the difference. Insight is the sudden realization of a solution, often after changing how the problem is represented. Restructuring means changing the representation of a problem so that a solution becomes possible. Fixation occurs when a person is stuck on one way of thinking and cannot see alternatives. Mental set is the tendency to use a strategy that worked before, even when it is not best now. Functional fixedness is the tendency to see objects only in terms of their usual functions. Analogical transfer means using the solution to one problem to solve another problem with a similar structure. A source problem is the earlier problem that provides the analogy. A target problem is the new problem that needs to be solved. Surface features are the obvious outward details of a problem. Structural features are the deeper relationships that determine whether two problems are really similar. Divergent thinking is generating many possible ideas or solutions and is linked to creativity. Inductive reasoning draws probable conclusions from evidence or observations. Deductive reasoning draws conclusions that follow logically from premises. A heuristic is a mental shortcut that makes thinking faster but can lead to errors. The availability heuristic judges likelihood by how easily examples come to mind. The representativeness heuristic judges category membership by how much something resembles a typical example. Base rate is the actual frequency of an event in the population, which people often ignore. The conjunction rule says two events together cannot be more likely than either event alone. Illusory correlation is perceiving a relationship between variables when none exists or when it is weaker than believed. Confirmation bias is seeking evidence that supports existing beliefs. Myside bias is evaluating evidence in a way that favors one's own position. A categorical syllogism is a logical argument involving categories such as all, some, or none. A conditional syllogism is a logical argument based on an if-then statement. Truth means a statement matches reality. Validity means the conclusion follows logically from the premises. Belief bias occurs when people judge logic based on whether the conclusion seems believable. The falsification principle says a rule should be tested by looking for evidence that could disprove it. The framing effect occurs when the way information is presented changes a decision. Risk aversion is the tendency to avoid losses or choose safety when risk is present. Expected emotion is the emotion a person predicts they will feel after a decision. Incidental emotion is emotion from an unrelated source that still influences judgment or choice. Neuroeconomics, pronounced neuroeconomics, studies the brain processes involved in choice, value, and risk. The dual systems approach says thinking has a fast automatic system and a slower controlled system. Higher cognition includes problem solving, reasoning, and decision making. These processes are adaptive, but they can be influenced by fixation, bias, emotion, framing, and shortcut.